Hi, everybody. Welcome to the What Do You Carry module. In this module, we will be wearing our champion hat. As a reminder, while wearing our champion hats, we consider the value of computer science in education and in our communities, and what we can do to make sure it's available to everybody. This module will take us about an hour to complete, including pauses throughout our slides. As we begin, please make sure that you have your What Do You Carry participant doc handy, whether it's a copy of the virtual doc that you can work in, or maybe you choose to print it out. Either way, we will be taking some notes in that doc. So to get started, we're going to visualize a backpack. And just to give you a heads up, we're going to be focusing on ourselves a lot in this activity. So it's okay to be a little selfish for the next half hour or so with me. So visualizing this backpack, imagine that everybody carries their own backpack everywhere we go. Think about what this looks like. Everybody you see on the street or in a store or even in your own home has this backpack. And this proverbial backpack contains the unique components that make every one of us us. So those individual characteristics that make us who we are. Considering those things that we carry around with us in that backpack, some of them are very special. We hold them very dear to our hearts. Some of them might actually feel kind of heavy, often or just sometimes. Some items in our backpack, we might even forget that we're carrying. We just don't pay any attention to them. Can you visualize what's in your backpack? We're going to pause and try and work through that together. So here, we're going to take a pause, and on your What Do You Carry doc, there is this identity wheel. It's a graphic organizer. Take a few moments to pause our video and jot down the unique elements or identities that make you you in your wheel. Once you're ready to jump back in, you can restart our video. All right, if you're rejoining us, we've got our completed wheels that we're going to reference from the What Do You Carry participant packet for the next few slides. Looking over your wheel, there's going to be a few questions I'd like for you to consider. I'll try to give some examples along the way, but honestly, I don't want to make it all about me or give ideas that make it seem as though yours might be along the lines of being correct or incorrect or right or wrong. Please just remember that these questions are meant for you to think about you and your own identities. You ready? All right, here we go. So our first question that I'd like for you to consider, looking at our wheel of our own social identities, is what identities have the strongest effect on how you see yourself? These effects could be positive, they might be negative, or maybe they're neutral. They just don't really have a leaning one way or the other. Maybe you feel very strongly connected to your ethnicity as a point of pride. Maybe you struggle with your body image. Maybe you don't see your gender as being good or bad, but it's definitely a big part of how you see yourself. If you need to, go ahead and pause here and look back over your wheel and consider the identities that have the strongest effect on how you see yourself. Here's our next question. If you were to eliminate two of these identities, which would they be and why? When we say eliminate here, we mean to make them no longer relevant or observable to others. And I really appreciate you fully playing along with our activity today. So Even if you're okay with all of them and it's not a big deal, I'm still asking you to eliminate two of them. And even if they're all really important to you and the choice is difficult, I'm still asking that you select two to eliminate. So if you need to, pause our video and determine which of those identities that, if you had to, you would be willing to give up. Going into the opposite direction from the previous question, now consider which identities you would not give up. Which identities would you refuse to eliminate and why? I think of these as our non-negotiables, and they are probably different for each of us. These are the identities that are most important to you. So take a few moments, look back over your wheel, and consider which identities are too important to you to lose. So far, we've thought about ourselves, but now let's shift our thinking to our students. For the next few questions, please consider the students you serve, the ones in your schools each day, in your responses to the questions. Do you think that your students ever feel weighed down or insecure with their proverbial backpack? What are the items that they're carrying around with them in their backpack? How do you think they might feel about their own identities? How they might respond to the previous questions we just reviewed? Think about how students might feel as though they're forced to eliminate their identities, kind of in the way that we just reviewed in that previous question. Consider how students' experiences at school might make them feel as though they're forced to disregard or eliminate components of their identities. Building on that, consider how will you take this to heart individually, but also with your district team as you continue with your CS project? How will you visualize your students carrying around their backpacks and the identities that they value or are burdened by as they move around your school and as they encounter opportunities in computer science? So this can be kind of heavy. We're going to take another elongated pause here for more of that reflection and for some of your deliverables. Before we move on, we want to take some time to organize our thoughts regarding those two previous questions about our students. You can find those questions and space to respond to them on that second page of the What Do You Carry doc, where we were working with our identity wheel. After you've had some time to organize your thoughts in the doc, please access the What Do You Carry discussion board in Schoology. For your initial post, you can simply copy and paste some of your notes from your doc, but you're always welcome to expand more. After your initial post, browse others' ideas, and whether you do it right now or come back later to the discussion board, don't forget that you need to reply to at least one other person's post. We hope that you take some time to provide a reply that lends additional insight or ideas, gives a different perspective, or maybe even poses questions that further conversation. Replies don't have to be super long, but we do ask that there are at least 2 sentences. So like I said, we're gonna pause here. And after you've had time to go through steps 1 and 2 using your What Do You Carry doc and the discussion board in Schoology, you can go ahead and restart the video and we'll be right back here. So let's put this all together and revisit our goals for our year-long CS journey as part of the K-8 cohort. Taking a specific look at number 4 on our goals list. We know this is heavy stuff, and going about it with this new virtual experience is a little different for both your presenters and probably you. When we see each other again in days 4 and 5, whether that's in person or virtually, we will be spending some more time thinking about identity and equity, but we definitely wanted to get started with that today with this type of activity. We wanted to spend some time on it today in hopes that you'll be thinking of your students' needs and their identities, their backpacks, as you dive deeper into your pilot project planning and considering what it means to provide CS for all of your students. We're now going to watch a quick video from the governor's office before moving on to our next steps with this module and wrapping up. It's a really short video, and I do invite you to watch it again. And maybe the second time that you watch it, think about the resources we shared and created during our YCS activity when we were in person for days 1 and 2. You can access this video via a YouTube link, as well as other great resources, including the PDE Equity and Inclusion Toolkit in our HyperDoc under the section, What Do You Carry? Here's our last step in completing this module. Please use the ideas that you jotted down in your What Do You Carry doc for your individual reflection to post a brief response in section 3, titled Equity Considerations of your daily district debrief. As a reminder, we've already created a specific copy of the daily district debrief for day 3 for just your district team. If you haven't already, you can find your district debrief linked in our shared notes hyperdoc. That's that same hyperdoc that we use for all of our workshops. The daily district debrief should continue to be a collaborative environment, even though we're working virtually for day 3. Just know that some of the sections, like this one, section 3, might involve each team member adding in their own comments. In these sections, we encourage you to include your name so that others know it's from you when they open the debrief doc. All right. As a recap, this is listed in your day 3 individual checklist as well. But looking back at what we've done through this module and what still maybe you need to double check. We worked through our What Do You Carry doc, completing our social identity wheel, and posting some notes for individual reflection in that doc. Our individual reflection notes can be used for our discussion board engagement, which includes our initial post and at least one reply to someone else. Because day 3 is completely virtual, we're really hoping that everybody supports one another and helps continue the conversation with some awesome replies and posts in the discussion boards. Lastly, on the team level for your district team, you have the daily district debrief. And for this module, the section is number 3, titled Equity Considerations. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team if you have any questions about this module or the resources that we reviewed, and we'll see you around the discussion boards.